Just over a year ago, before the Breakfast Show was delivered unto the world, I had spent about 10 months producing the Demolition Daily live stream show. It was on that show that I knocked off at least some of the rough edges and learned the live streaming process. Now, that show was born out of necessity and desperation. Because of the pandemic, I was unable to produce the Demolition magazine, and so I switched to the live streaming alternatives. In one of the very early episodes, I spoke of my hope that society would retain the unity it demonstrated in protecting the NHS and in applauding the NHS workers. Sadly, I now get the impression that the lessons of COVID have been all too quickly forgotten. It might just be my advancing years, it might just be my creeping cynicism, and it might just be that lockdown gave me a glimpse of what national unity actually felt like. But I actually get the impression that people are worse now, more bitter, more quick to anger, and more selfish. As a nation, we will probably never get an opportunity for a total reset again. But the demolition industry just might. Everything that I'm hearing suggests that the Competition and Markets Authority might finally spill the beans in March on an investigation into alleged collusion that has been running since early in 2019. While I would like the findings to say that all UK demolition contractors were squeaky clean and that those companies that were investigated and in some instances raided have been exonerated, that's my heart talking. My head, sadly, believes that some big names will be caught in the CMA net. If that proves to be the case, it could change the very landscape of the UK demolition sector. Big name companies that have traditionally been among the first names on tender lists might actually find those tender lists a bit more difficult to access. Some individuals that have previously dictated the industry's direction of travel might no longer enjoy the influence they once had. And with the industry landscape changed, the UK demolition industry might be afforded a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hit the big reset button, to bounce back better, to bounce back in a more unified and representative way. But for that to happen, the industry will need to learn from the lessons of the past and the present. If the industry is to truly move forward in the post-CMA period, it will not be sufficient to merely shuffle the deck. The sector will need to open an entirely new deck of cards and start a fresh new game, to dispense with the systems and structures of the past, and to embrace a new industry regime created in the image of the many rather than of the few. Sadly, as a nation, the UK squandered the chance to start anew. It failed to retain the spirit that got us through an unprecedented pandemic and several national lockdowns. I can only hope that the UK demolition industry will take heed of that failure, and if and when the opportunity arises, it chooses to start afresh rather than returning to its old ways.